an appeal to the public to observe all laws, regulations of the city of Flint and elsewhere. As we get ready to engage the summer months, this is a time for our families to be happy, children out to play, we out gardening and doing different things in our public sector. But what we will do is not tolerate any misbehaving in motor vehicles anymore. Last year in the city of Flint, we observed people at intersections doing donuts, racing their cars through residential areas, going fast, not observing the law. This year, we're going to take a hard line. We will enforce all of our traffic regulations and rules and laws in this community. Under the leadership of our police chief, Terrence Green, we have Tyrone Booth here as well. Captain Urquhart is here with us as well, and also our city attorney, Bill Kim. We have begun the process to take the vehicle of those that will be not obeying the laws in the city of Flint. We have started the process of a forfeiture process under the guidance of Bill Kim and our law department to take a vehicle from a person that was not observing the laws. Reckless driving will not be tolerated in the city of Flint. Donuts will not be tolerated here in the city of Flint. This is a warning. This is not a bluff. We will enforce the laws aggressively up to removing those individuals from possession of the vehicles that they may infract the law with. So today we're going to talk a little bit about this, and we're going to talk to Bill Kim. He's going to tell us about the process of forfeiting one of the first vehicles this year, or an attempt to forfeit a vehicle from an individual that was caught reckless driving. Mr. Kim.
Thank you, Mayor. We filed a lawsuit in circuit court last week against a man who is currently accused of reckless driving of his vehicle within the city of Flint. An MSP trooper in a helicopter clocked a gray Dodge Charger traveling at up to 100 miles an hour on Saginaw Street, near 5th Street, and on Martin Luther King Boulevard in the early morning of Saturday, March 25th. We have video and photos showing this vehicle doing donuts in the intersections downtown right there on First Street, nearly colliding with pedestrians and another car. In addition to criminal prosecution of the driver, which is currently ongoing for reckless driving, lacking insurance, and driving an unregistered vehicle, we have also filed a civil suit against the vehicle itself to declare the vehicle as a public nuisance and have it forfeited to the city of Flint. According to the city's ordinances, any vehicle that is used to engage in reckless driving is a nuisance and subject to forfeiture, and we intend to enforce that ordinance to the maximum extent possible. We will not tolerate dangerous driving here that threatens our residents.
Once again, I want to encourage residents to observe the law. Our children need to feel safe in their own neighborhoods and their community. Our residents need to feel safe as they travel to and from work, to and from church, but definitely we have to obey the law. I'm asking all residents to obey all traffic laws inside the city of Flint. The consequences will be stiff. We will seek action against you. Arrest, conviction, forfeiture of your vehicle, we will go forth. I will give it over to Chief Terrence Green to talk a little bit about the enforcement portion of our engagement as we move forward with this exercise.
Yes, enforcement of this ordinance is just one of our initiatives that we're preparing for a very busy summertime. There will be zero tolerance for drivers of vehicles traveling at very high rates of speed. 100 miles an hour in a residential district, that's not speeding, that's reckless driving. We'll be initiating initiatives in these areas, specifically responding to citizen complaints. Now, if you observed reckless driving, competing in contests of driving prowess, officers will forfeit your vehicle under this ordinance, and there's zero tolerance. So we're just preparing for the summer. It's going to be very busy. We've already had incidents involving reckless driving thus far. Therefore, we want to get a handle on it before the summer months, May, June, July, and August.
This won't be only executed by the police officers of the city of Flint, but this will be a partnership with our other law enforcement agencies inside the city. I'm going to bring up spokesman Tyrone Booth to be able to talk about our partnerships with our local college public safety officers and also our MSP forces and assets that are currently here.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As you know, we continue our partnership with local agencies, also federal partners throughout the city of Flint, and working to increase public safety and reduce the criminal element that exists here. We're going to continue those partnerships. Genesee County will be working with us on this initiative as well, in addition to Michigan State Police. We started this operation some time ago in targeting traffic and those who wish to violate traffic by exceeding beyond the posted speed limit. And to date, we've conducted 17 of those operations, resulting in issuing 812 traffic citations thus far, just this year alone with those different assignments. And so far, 329 guns have been confiscated in an effort to start our enforcement for the summer. And those just are numbers for year to date. We expect for those to increase as the summer months come in, as is regular for communities throughout the country. The element of crime increases slightly. So we started early in preparation for that, and we're expecting some great progress and expecting to reduce crime and increase public safety and reduce the fear of crime here in the city of Flint. So we're going to continue to work with our partners to make sure that we are doing everything that we can to make those who obey the law feel comfortable in driving throughout the city of Flint, as well as doing the other leisure things that you do in the city of Flint while they're here. So we're looking forward to continuing to do this work to make a difference.
Along with this activity, we will also be observing and also strictly enforcing other laws. No parking over the sidewalk, no parking your car on the parkway or your front lawns. We have a community here, and we must have law and order. This is not a bluff. I repeat, this is not a bluff, but we definitely want to engage our public with a positive engagement with law enforcement, but definitely we need the public to be able to adhere to laws. And so forewarned is foretold. We're starting off our summer. We're insisting that we have a safe, productive summer for our kids and for our families in this community. So please observe the law. There will be consequences to violation of the law. Strict enforcement. Reckless driving will not be tolerated. Parking over the sidewalk, parking on your front lawns. These things speaks to the quality of life for law-obeying citizens, and we will maximize our efforts to make sure that we have a safe summer. And we'll open it up to questions.
How many accidents, injuries, fatalities last year in the city were tied to reckless driving citations?
I'd have to pull those numbers for you, but
if you could come over this way, thank you.
I'll have to pull those numbers for how many accidents were related to reckless driving, particularly drag racing and things of that nature. That number is not huge, but one of the things that we wanted to reduce is traffic collisions in the city of Flint. And because of the enforcement operations that we've been conducting this year, we're grateful to report that the traffic collisions are down. And we believe that is a direct result of the enforcement that takes place. Every now and then, drivers need a slight correction to the way that they drive, and sometimes the blue and red lights behind them without a citation is enough, but other times you need a paper-written reminder, and that's taken place, and it'll continue to take place. We just want people to drive safe and in a manner that's within the guidelines of Michigan vehicle laws that operates how we drive. So we just want a safe environment.
Is this in reference to the reckless driving ordinance that came before Flint City Council last year? And if so, which you did refer to an ordinance, so if so, is this the first time that's really kind of being used in trying to remove possession of the vehicle?
This is one of the tools that we're using is the ordinance that the city council passed last year. I can't tell you if this is the first time we've used that provision of it, but it's the first time this year that we've used the provision of it, and we intend to strictly enforce that ordinance and utilize it to reduce that kind of activity here in the city.
Thank you.
Was there anything preventing the city from enforcing traffic laws or cracking down on reckless driving like prior to this ordinance?
Well, prior to this ordinance, our hands were tied as far as treating these reckless drivers and seizing the vehicles on a nuisance abatement. This ordinance makes that a lot easier to forfeit the vehicles. Prior to that, we were required to use the state of Michigan nuisance abatement law. But now, since the city council voted on this new ordinance, it makes it a lot easier to forfeit these vehicles under the city ordinance.
And just to be clear, we were always enforcing traffic laws. So if you run a stop sign, you could always receive a ticket, and many did. So the abatement law and enforcing traffic, two different areas. So I just want to make sure, your question seemed like it was one in nature of, well, why weren't we enforcing laws before? We were. So I just want to make that clear.
Thank you. I guess what message do you want this ordinance to tell those in the city of Flint who are looking to do reckless driving, or what message do you want this?
This is not a message. This is a warning, a very strict warning. I think it's fair to give a warning that it won't be tolerated here in the city of Flint. City of Flint, inside of Genesee County, seemed like it was the destination site that you could fracture laws, break laws, especially around driving offenses. It won't be tolerated at all. Reckless driving where it endangers lives and public safety will not be tolerated. We will take the tool in which you use to engage in that reckless activity, and that tool is your motor vehicle. So whether it's a motorcycle, a car, or a truck, we will use all measurements of law to make sure that we protect life, safety, and welfare in the city of Flint. So this is not a message, but this is a warning.
Of the 812, are they kind of evenly spread around the city, or are there certain types of areas you find?
Yes, for those initiatives, they're data-driven and selected based on a variety of factors: complaints for reckless driving, observations of violations, traffic violations. So they're throughout the city of Flint. It's not just one particular area. Every section of Flint have received some type of enforcement action and will continue.
What do you classify as reckless driving in this particular context?
Well, in this case, for this first forfeiture case, this individual was at this particular intersection, and you all will have the video, but they were at an intersection, they're doing donuts, very recklessly impeding traffic, and also a pedestrian moving through traffic, but also moving at a high rate of speed, as Chief Green said. Residential areas, the speed limit is a maximum of 25 miles per hour, but if you exceed that, that is considered, and sometimes if it exceeds twice the posted speed limit, that could be viewed as reckless and endangerment driving. I'll let the chief speak to that a little bit more.
Yeah, so majority of our residential areas has a 25 mile per hour unposted speed limit. So if you're traveling 70 miles per hour on one of these residential districts, we're viewing that, we're going to define that as reckless driving. The reason why, public safety is in danger. If a vehicle's backing out of their driveway and there's a vehicle traveling 70 miles an hour, there's no way for that vehicle to stop at a safe, sure distance. Children are playing in the roadways. And you got children out riding their bikes. 70 miles an hour in a residential area is unsafe. It's a hazard to public safety. And basically, this ordinance is going to save lives. There's no doubt about it.
And just to speak to the cost factor of such an engagement, it's very costly. When last year you saw that we implemented speed humps inside of residential areas to be able to curb those speeders. Those speed humps don't come at a free cost. It costs all of us, the taxpayers inside the city of Flint. So we want people to obey and observe the law because it produces safety, a better environment, and it also is less costly to us in the city of Flint as taxpayers. So everybody should be on board and of like thinking to move this community forward. But definitely, we want to send out a strong signal to those that may want to ignore the law, that we're not bluffing, that we will use the law to its maximum levels to be able to separate those individual violators from the tools that they use, whether it be a vehicle and or a gun. And if there's any more, no more questions, we'll set up for one-on-one. Yeah.
Based on history, how many cars do you expect to get through forfeiture this year? I mean, obviously you don't want any.
Right. As a byproduct of this informational distribution of what our intent will be, we hope there's going to be less than it was before this informational press conference about our intent and us being in a non-bluffing state. We already started the process, so we have one. Our hope and our goal would be this will be the only one because everyone obeyed the law. But if it's not, we will do as many as necessary.
Are there specific areas in Flint that you plan to target with this increased enforcement?
Yes, Flint.
Okay.
Yep, and we'll set up one-on-ones if you guys need it, but if there are no more questions, we'll do it. Thank you, guys. Thank you for being here.